One of the best zoos in Europe just opened a brand new area, and we're here to explore it. This is the Heart of Africa at Chester Zoo, a 22-acre recreation of an African savanna. It's home to over 50 species from aardvarks to zebra. Let's take a look. As soon as you enter the Heart of Africa, the first thing you'll notice is the theming. It does a really good job of bringing a savanna to the UK. And the first of the many species we're going to see today are the meerkats. One of the most commonly held zoo animals. If you want to impress with meerkats, then you need a really good habitat. And Chester's has got pretty much everything you could want. From viewing domes, you can go inside to get a really up-close view of them, to a pretty massive area by meerkat habitat standards, a beautifully themed environment with lots of opportunities for the meerkats to display their natural behaviours. Indoor and outdoor viewing. This habitat is a lot of fun. We've got something much larger to see now though, the eastern black rhino. These beautiful animals are critically endangered, and Chester Zoo has a long history of working on breeding programs with this animal. The zoo has pioneered hormone testing programs for the rhinos, and there's a lab in the Heart of Africa where you can find out about that, and they also do work in Africa with rangers in protected areas to reduce poaching. Their habitat here, or habitats I should say, is absolutely enormous. There are so many viewing points. You can return to it again and again as you travel around the Heart of Africa, and you're pretty much guaranteed amazing views. These habitats have been in the zoo for a long time. They've been rethemed to fit into the Heart of Africa area, but when your rhino habitats are this good, there's no need to tear them down and start again. I caught a magpie taking a ride on one of the rhino's backs here. I don't know if it's filling the role of the oxpecker that you'd often see on their backs in Africa, or if it's literally just hitching a ride, but the rhino doesn't seem to mind. There's an indoor habitat as well. Let's go and take a look at that. I was impressed with the signage in this zoo. You can see some on the wall there. There is a lot of it, and it's very informative. On the inside, we got some more nice theming. When the rhinos are in here, you can get the closest view of all. They are absolutely magnificent animals. Let's move on to the next part of the area. The Heart of Africa has a pretty extensive bird collection, and we're going to see the beginnings of that here with this aviary for greater flamingos and grey-crowned cranes. It's not a walk-through aviary, which is a bit of a shame because these flamingos are quite a long way away. But to be fair, the zoo does have a walk-through flamingo aviary elsewhere for American flamingos, where you can get a much closer view of them. But we do get a really good view of the grey-crowned cranes, one of the most striking birds in the world for my money. And they were prowling along the shoreline here. There's also some more waterfowl in here as well, but I didn't see any of those. Next to the flamingos is the Tsavo Aviary, and this is a walkthrough, and it's a really nice one. There's 10 or so species in here, including African starlings, turacos, lapwings, and even a hammerkop. And you also get another perspective into the flamingo habitat as well. You can see those over there. Some really beautiful birds in here, all free flying of course. The starling was one of my favourites, they're really beautiful. There's a lovely lake in the middle of the habitat, which reminds me a little bit of the walkthrough at London Zoo that we saw a few weeks ago. Planting looks really good in here already, considering this area has only been open for about 3 months. Everything's starting to look really lush already. I said there was a hammerkop in here, and currently the zoo only has one of them. They are looking for a second, I believe. It's actually a male, but he's built a massive nest that you can see here. Sadly, he's not going to have anyone joining him in the nest right now, but hopefully in the future they'll have a pair of them here. This is a snowy-crowned robin chat right next to the path. If you listen carefully, you can hear him singing away. And next to the Tsavo Aviary is a much smaller aviary for a real rarity, the black-cheeked lovebird. This is one of the rarest species of lovebird in Africa. Their habitat is shrinking due to extreme water loss caused by climate change. So Chester are doing some really important work breeding them at the zoo here. There's a small but nicely landscaped indoor aviary for them, and then that joins on to their outdoor aviary, which is where the majority of them are today. You can see them here fluttering about on the little stand of trees at the back of the habitat. I feel like the guest viewing could be a little bit closer to the outdoor part here. We're quite a way away from them and they are pretty small. But next to them is a bird you'll have no trouble spotting, the eagle owl. I love eagle owls, they're absolutely magnificent. Normally they'd be asleep at this time, but this one was awake, looking around and checking out their habitat. And we're going to move on and check out the vultures. On the way is one of the coolest bits of signage I've ever seen in a zoo, the lenticular hologram for aardvarks. So he actually runs along as you walk past it. And then we can see this sizable vulture aviary, including both white-headed and white-backed vultures. This is another habitat that you have multiple viewpoints of as you walk around the area, so you get to see the vultures from all different angles. And all in all, it's a pretty impressive bird collection. Let's move on to some mammals now with the adorable Kirk's dik-dik. It's always a treat if you're lucky enough to see one of these in a zoo. They are very shy and very small, so they tend to be hiding away behind bushes or right at the back of the habitat like this little one is here. But they have two habitats either side of a central building, so you should be able to see at least one when you come. Time to move on to the centerpiece of the Heart of Africa, the savannah. Just next to it is a habitat for warthogs, with this beautiful tree growing into it, and that gives us our first view into the enormous savanna habitat. The warthog habitat itself, though, is pretty sizable. I think this is the biggest warthog habitat I've ever seen. Loads of different areas for them and mud for them to bathe in. They were almost a no-show today, but I just managed to catch them sleeping in a big pile at the back of the habitat here. But let's go next door and check out the savanna. Home to 4 different species, this savanna is enormous. It houses northern giraffes, Giraffes Zebra, rowan antelope, and the common ostrich. If you're wondering what a northern giraffe is, I think it's a pretty new species definition. You're more likely to have heard of the subspecies, the Kordofan, Nubian, and West African giraffes. But now that they're grouped together as the northern giraffe, there's still only less than 6,000 individuals remaining in the wild. So Chester are part of another breeding program for them here. There are so many different viewing spots for this, most of them raised, so you can get some great views of the giraffe like this. You're almost at the head height of the giraffe, especially when they're using their feeders like this one. There's also some more really good signage giving you an impression of what it looks like when a giraffe becomes the prey of a lion. And if you're wondering where the lions are, there aren't any in the heart of Africa because the zoo already has a group of Asiatic lions on the other side of the zoo. I'll show you those at the end of the video, along with another very large mammal. Here's the zebra. I didn't have any luck with the rowan antelope or the ostrich today, not sure where they were. The whole area is really nicely themed. This is the Maasai Olympics, which gives you some fascinating information about how young boys of the Maasai tribe have swapped killing lions as their rite of passage for taking part in sports challenges instead, which is amazing. It's time to leave the savannah and enter the next part of the heart of Africa. And the first animal here is the aardvark. Got a couple of them here snoozing away in their indoor habitat. Aardvarks are primarily nocturnal, so this is where you'd expect to see them. And next to them is another adorable animal, the yellow mongoose, the meerkat's bigger cousin. I've seen these in a couple of zoos and they are always really active and a lot of fun to watch. And then inside a cafe is the indoor viewing for the Cape porcupine and these gorgeous bat-eared foxes. These rare animals have just arrived at the zoo. They have an indoor habitat here and then an outdoor habitat which leads directly onto the savannah, so you can see all the animals at once, which is really cool. And then another habitat that's been in the zoo for a while but has been rethemed to fit into this area for the African wild dog. I found one of the dogs here escaping the heat of the day under this bush, and you can just make out one in the background there. Did not have much luck with the African wild dogs today, and I had even less with the rock hyrax, who are hiding in one of their caves every single time I went to visit. But the final thing that we're going to see today, there is no trouble seeing the animals. It's the Hidden Savannah, a beautiful animal house with loads of smaller animals in it, like these desert locusts. And the theming in here is top notch. They are absolutely covering the Jeep that you can see in the background, and you can actually get into the Jeep so that you can have them swarming all over the windscreen while you're in there. They are not the most attractive animal I've seen, but it's really interesting seeing them like this in an actual swarm rather than just having a couple of them in a habitat. There's a beautiful Ethiopian mountain adder, only been known to science since 1977. An African bullfrog, and the amazingly named Kieseling's wonder gecko. I have never heard of these guys. I don't know why they are so wondrous. Looked like a pretty typical gecko to me, hiding under this log. Opposite the wonder gecko is a series of tiny little habitats all joined together to form a beautiful panorama, featuring animals like this Karoo round-eared sengi and this adorable Barbary-striped grass mouse. The way these habitats work together, there's always something to see. I had an amazing view of this little mouse. I believe these mice used to live in the incredible walk-through fruit bat exhibits on the other side of the zoo, or possibly it was a different species of striped mouse. But we can see those when we take a full tour of Chester Zoo very soon on the channel. Underneath the mouse habitat is a species that's becoming more and more popular in zoos, the naked mole rat. These are so weird, but I always enjoy seeing them. They're normally either scurrying through their tunnels or lying in a giant pile like this, asleep. They are weirdly cute though, and they bring us on to the final habitat that we're going to see in the heart of Africa, an open-top mixed habitat for various different reptiles like Stardagama and Oosterlet's chameleon. There's also some pancake tortoises in here, and the fact that it's open-topped means it's just got a little glass wall around it which you can see over, so you can get a completely uninterrupted view of the animals. You can see the tortoise and chameleon down here, such fascinating animals. And that is everything there is to see at the heart of Africa. I really enjoyed this area. I love the way they've rethemed it. It is just one part of Chester Zoo, so as I said earlier, you won't see any lions or elephants here, but you can see Asiatic lions on the other side of the zoo, and the zoo's herd of Asian elephants are just next door. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you again soon for a full tour of Chester Zoo. Bye.